In this lesson, we'll look at how we can perform HTTP requests in Opus scripts. So an HTTP request is like an AJAX request you would do in JavaScript or a fetch request, and we can do these in Opus and utilize the results in our applications. So it starts off with a simple dashboard with a button over there. The button has a file script attached to it, but no actions yet. So the action we want to use is called queryUrl. This will perform a HTTP request for you, and we need a URL where we want to send the request. We need to specify a method, be it a post or a delete or a GET request, and we need a body. This is what we'll need for most of our requests. If you look at the query URL, let me just open this over there, query URL action, and scroll down a bit to the query URL action over there. Look at the action. We'll see that the method also has a default set. If I can just find the default, go into perform request. All right, so queryUrl calls perform request. So the default form method is get, and we also set some default headers telling the endpoint that we expect JSON to be sent back. So when you're using these or working with these requests, it's nice to have a testing ground. Obviously, some requests you can send off, and on this website, which is included in the lesson, there's certain API endpoints that you can call to test the query URL function. So for a start, let's call this list users endpoint. It tells us that it's a GET request, and this is the URL, and we can see this URL parameter there at the end as well. If I can just copy this, use this as our URL, and obviously with the host over there, the method we know is get, and there's nothing in the body because it's a GET request, so we can ignore the body. You'll only pass in the body if you're doing a post request or a delete or something like that, but not when you're doing a GET request. So if we refresh over here, look at our DevTools, click on the network tab so you can see what's going on in the network requests. Click over there, and we'll see two requests are being fired off. Options is something the browser sends to make sure of certain things, and there you see your GET request with the correct URL, the correct method, because you see gets over there, and in the response you'll see we got some stuff back. So now of course we'll want to use this information, and further on in the script we might want to render each record, each user in a repeat or something like that. So we need to extract the data, and to do that we use another keyword called extractResults. So extractResults is an array of objects, and we need to specify a path and a variable. We want to store the data in a variable called data, and the path will be response.data. Because if you look at this response, this is the response object. We can access any key inside this by just typing response.what the keys we want to access. We can also drill in further, for example, response.supports.url. But we'll look at an example of that now. So let's log the results as well. Variable.data, so we can see what we actually extracted. And there we see our data array that we've extracted into a variable. We can now use this in a set state to send to a repeater or whatever we want to do. We might do other requests with this information. It really is up to what your use case is. So let's extract some more things from this. Let's also extract the how many records are in the array. So let's do something like record count. Log that as well. And to get this one, we can just do response.data.length. And there we see our data and our record count. We can also access elements in arrays. For example, if you wanted to access the first element avatar, let's call this first user avatar. This will be response.data.0.avatar because it's the first elements in the array. Now let's do an example where we're doing a post request. Let's look at login successful. So this is our endpoint. I can just copy this. Now let's first duplicate this one. So let's change this one to get list of users and make a new button. Call this one login. And now we need a different endpoint. Let's just remove all of this and all the logs we had. So we now API. Is this a great one? It's not the great one. There we go. And now our method will be post, and we'll specify a body as well. Let's pass nothing in for a start and just see what happens. So clicking on login, we'll see we're getting an error of 400. This is your status code. We can also extract the status code if we need a way to know if the query was successful or not. Obviously, we can also just look at the error over there, but it's easier just to look at the status code. So let's add extract results. Now when we run this and click on login, we'll see that the status code we get is actually undefined. This is because the request has failed. We can see it's failed because it's not in green. Because it's failed and we're trying to extract results, failed requests do not return results, they return errors. So we can extract errors to extract the status code instead of extract results. So now we see our status code, but the problem will come in once this response is successful, then we'll no longer have the status code. So let's make it succeed. We'll pass it an email and a password, like specified over there. And now we'll see it will no longer get the status code because it isn't extracting properly. Status code is undefined. What we can do for this is use a different keyword called extractAny, capital A. This will extract regardless of the success status of the status code of the request. So it'll always extract this. We can combine these, however. So if we want to do extract results as well, we want to get let's look at this request. There's our post request. We can see we get a token back. So we can extract the token. The path is response.token and the variable to be token. Then we'll see that we can actually get the status code and these results. There's both of those. We can also set the headers of this request when it's needed. You'll find examples of how you can do this in the additional reading section of this lesson. You can also set cache to true. What this will do is look at the request, and if the request hasn't changed, it will use the same result as the previous run. So if we look at your network request, run login, we see it's being run over there, and clicking there we can see we just get the previous result back. It isn't actually running again.